When it comes to Drake, Kendrick Lamar once warned us that it was going to be a tough year for him, but I don't think anyone could have predicted just how much of a joke Drake would become. Even after the humiliation he faced at both the Grammys and the Super Bowl, it's now the Oscars where Drake found himself dissed once again. Being at the center of a major cultural event where Kendrick Lamar had no involvement this time, Drake, along with OVO and his entire camp, are left in complete disarray and spiraling harder than we've ever seen before. But before diving deeper into all of this, make sure to like and subscribe. Your support means a lot. Drake's fans are enraged over their favorite rapper's struggles in this rap beef, and hitting that like button will help spread the word about just how badly Drake and everyone around him are reacting to this latest blow. Now, let's talk about what happened at the Oscars, where it's crazy to think that the fallout from a rap beef has found its way into a major event like the Oscars, which is supposed to be all about the film industry. During the show, Conan O'Brien, who was hosting, made a joke, saying, "Well, we're halfway through the show, which means it's time for Kendrick Lamar to come out and call Drake a P-word." Yes, he actually said the full word on live TV. He followed that up with, "Don't worry, I'm lawyered up," which made the situation even funnier. What Conan and his team didn't realize was that by making this joke for millions of viewers, they weren't just playing into a pop culture phenomenon. They were setting off an entirely new set of reactions, crash-outs, wild theories, and an even deeper spiral from Drake's camp. This unexpected moment at the Oscars, of all places, has left the rap world buzzing, with those close to Drake's team coming up with the most ridiculous theories you can imagine in response. And of course, you know Drake's not letting this one slide. After adding the Super Bowl halftime show and Kendrick Lamar's performance, along with the massive audience that witnessed it, to his ongoing lawsuit, it seems like he's trying to further build this wild theory he's pushing, one based on his defeat in a rap feud. It seems almost inevitable that we'll soon see another absurd addition to what might be the most bizarre legal filing ever presented by a rapper. In this new development, Drake will likely claim that being the target of a joke at the Oscars is another significant piece of evidence in this grand conspiracy against him, one designed to tarnish his reputation and push his career to its lowest point. Now, there's plenty to unpack when it comes to the increasingly ridiculous reasoning coming from Team Drake, particularly about why they believe this joke was made and what they think it was trying to achieve. Let's be real for a moment. This may be tough for Drake's fans to hear, but it seems they're not just out of touch with hip-hop culture. They also seem to lack a basic understanding of how things actually work in the world. If we put things into context, especially when it comes to award shows like the Oscars, the pressure on the host has only grown over time. These events have become harder and harder to navigate without embarrassing moments. The Oscars didn't single out Drake because they were instructed by his label or because they were trying to ruin his legacy in some elaborate scheme. Like many jokes at these events, especially those that get the most attention, the Oscars team, along with Conan and his writers, chose to make light of a current cultural moment that everyone is aware of and can relate to. It's as simple as that. If Drake's fans don't believe this, they only need to look at the other jokes made at the Oscars, Grammys, or Golden Globes. Hosts often get laughs by referencing shared cultural events, things everyone in the room is at least vaguely aware of, since those are the moments that tend to resonate. Even so, Drake and his team are already spinning this into a much larger narrative, one where they argue that this is a clear, deliberate attack on his career and image, something on an unprecedented scale. And of course, they're making a big deal out of the fact that Conan used a specific word to describe Drake. But in the end, if we actually look at the joke, particularly the part where Conan references Drake's suit, which they are conveniently ignoring, it's clear that the situation isn't as sinister as they are making it out to be. What's really happening here isn't just that the Super Bowl was one of the most significant cultural events in recent memory, or that Kendrick Lamar's influence on hip-hop has reached new heights. It's also about how, outside the world of hip-hop and rap beef, people are starting to notice the ongoing tension between Kendrick and Drake. After the diss tracks, especially with Kendrick's clear victory, Drake's response by filing a lawsuit over it seems utterly ridiculous to anyone, hip-hop fan or not. As we saw in Conan's recent joke, the entertainment industry has clearly turned Drake's response to his loss in the rap beef into a punchline. It's reached the point where everyone is now laughing at him because, frankly, it's just absurd. From the Super Bowl halftime show and Kendrick Lamar's performance, where he created a whole story around Drake's suit and his pursuit of "Not Like Us," to the joke at the Oscars, the message is clear. Drake should be understanding that it's not just the impact of "Not Like Us" in the hip-hop community that's kept this song so relevant. What really made the song stand out is the way Drake's personal reaction spiraled out of control, turning it into one of the biggest cultural moments we've seen in a long time, beyond just hip-hop, but in culture as a whole. The reality is, if Drake had simply taken his loss and moved on after "Not Like Us" dropped, things would have been very different. The major entertainment industries and award shows wouldn't be mocking him, and jokes like this wouldn't land, because they rely on the fact that Drake was the first rapper to take a loss like this and make it a focal point in such an exaggerated way. While Drake's team will likely try to frame this as proof that "Not Like Us" has destroyed his image, the truth is that the backlash he's facing isn't solely because of the song. It's because of his extreme reaction to it. This is what's truly fueling the ridicule, and it's why people are laughing when he tries to explain how the song has damaged his career. Moments like this highlight that it's not just the song, but Drake's own poor decisions that have tarnished his reputation. As much as his team will continue to push strange theories about his situation, Drake's attempt to redefine how rappers express themselves, reinterpreting wordplay, lyrics, and artistic expression to defend "Not Like Us," is coming across as disrespectful to the art form. Many entertainers across different industries are seeing this as a threat to free expression in art, and it's not just that they don't respect Drake. They want to make sure ideas like his don't hinder people's ability to express themselves freely. Take Conan, for example. Before he was known for jokes like this, he wrote for The Simpsons and SNL, two platforms notorious for poking fun at people, whether or not they liked it. Ultimately, this kind of thing is allowed. Being able to make jokes, like the one Conan made at the Oscars, has always been a staple of the entertainment industry. Even when there was controversy surrounding Andrew Schultz and his disappointing response to Kendrick Lamar, after Kendrick's diss on whacked-out murals, Drake's fans didn't seem to care much when Kendrick was the target of the joke. But now, of course, they're up in arms because the joke is about Drake. And that brings us back to the larger point about artistic expression. Until Drake entered the scene, this was the standard across the board. And looking at it through the lens of rap beef, it was always understood as part of the culture, until now, with Drake. In many ways, it feels like the entire entertainment industry is pushing back against what Drake is doing. If he can take things this far over a diss record and a beef, where he didn't just insult Kendrick Lamar but fully understood the consequences of engaging in it, it sets a dangerous precedent for the future of how artists, writers, comedians, or anyone else expressing themselves through their craft may be able to do so without fear of reprisal. When you look at this joke in that light, you can see that Drake is deliberately missing the point to try and prove his own narrative. And of course, those around him will do the same, continuing to build this victimized image of him. At this point, beyond the confines of rap and rap beef, it's clear that Drake has angered more people than he realizes. It's no longer just about the beef or how Drake feels in one specific moment. What he's doing is challenging the way people have traditionally expressed themselves through art and creative mediums. For Drake, this moment is about something much bigger, and it's what makes this entire situation so pivotal. No matter how you look at it, this beef has reached a point where it's become one of, if not the most talked about aspects of an award show from an entirely different industry. This situation speaks to how, between Kendrick's wins and Drake's losses, hip-hop has truly reached its peak. More people than ever are paying attention to what's happening in the genre, especially when it comes to these two rappers. Whether it's the growing disrespect people have for Drake or the newfound appreciation for Kendrick Lamar's music and his contributions, everything is moving forward. And while Drake and his team are clearly upset with the Oscars, it seems likely we'll see them try to drag this out and make it into something much bigger and more absurd. The reality is, this moment is showing just how significant this rap beef has become in the larger cultural conversation. It's also clear that, outside of rap, the entertainment world is simply done with Drake. More than anything, his actions have disrespected the entire industry. Because of this, It's not just about Drake losing a rap beef anymore, something people will likely laugh at for years to come. It's so much bigger than that now. What Drake is doing is threatening to disrupt the very ways people have been able to create and tell their stories in the industry. So, with all of that in mind, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you make of this moment and the reaction from Drake's team? Did you find this joke funny? Or were you just surprised to see how far the impact of both Drake's loss and Kendrick's success have reached? I'm eager to hear your take. And if you've made it this far in the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Also, if you want to see how, just before this moment, Drake's frustration with his rap career and struggling tour led him to a low point we've never seen before, check out the suggested video.